Why MAGA is suddenly turning on Trump. You've noticed very recently, MAGA is fractured, right? Half of MAGA is sticking with Trump, while the other half is completely, not even just abandoning him, they're literally turning on him and calling him out. And obviously, a lot of this has to do with the economy, right? The economy is still bad. A lot of it has to do with Israel, right? A lot of it has to do with him constantly busy with foreign affairs and not paying enough attention to what's going on here in America. And I think that's probably one of the biggest things is everybody feels like, Trump's, dealing with this country or he's dealing with that country or, he's giving aid to this other country, but he's not focusing on his own country, right? The one that elected him. And it feels like we're being neglected and we're not being heard anymore, right? The same people that got him elected, the same people that put their asses on the line to get him elected, same people that, threw their support behind him on these podcasts that lost family, lost friends, maybe even lost their jobs because they supported Trump. They feel like they are being left behind and they're not being heard, as I said. And it's almost like you being a kid and your dad is like, you want him to coach your baseball team and help you, with Little League and all this. And he's going to the neighbor's house like 3 blocks down and taking their kids to baseball practice. And then he's going to the other house and taking those kids to like basketball practice. And then going to this other house that's like 2 towns over and taking their daughters over to soccer practice. And it's like, hey, what about me, man? Can you just take your own kid to baseball practice, teach me how to hit a ball and work with me on some stuff and spend time with me? Yeah, can we do stuff together? And he's not doing that, right? Because he's busy with everyone else except, his own house, his own family, his own country. That's why a lot of people who supported him in MAGA are just hopping off the Trump train and going their own way. And a lot of people are calling him out for it too. I see a lot of podcasters who, still respect him and still support him and are still saying that, I'd still rather have him in office than Kamala. But at the end of the day, they also say he's still basically, we always get John McCain. They always say, we just get John McCain. I mean, in my opinion, it seems like no matter who's in office, if it's a Democrat in office, you'll just get the same policies with complete open borders. Whereas a Republican's in office, you'll get the same exact policies with somewhat closed borders. It just seems not that far off. And so a lot of people are just growing disillusioned with him. Like, why? Why are you doing this? You started out as this individual America First candidate and you were speaking to the people. People were loving it. People were into it. People had your back. And now you're turning into a politician. Now you're doing things that a politician would do, right? It's like, and people are just frustrated. This also goes to, to show that, when people say MAGA's a cult, no, a cult wouldn't fracture the way they've been fracturing lately. You wouldn't lose half your base because if it were an actual cult, everybody would stick behind you, right? That's not happening. That is not happening because a lot of people, again, I would say half of MAGA is turning on him, whereas the other half is sticking with him, right? You can't have a cult when you've just lost 50%. When the Democrats were in office, they stuck behind Biden. We all knew that dude was losing his mental faculties. We all knew that he couldn't get through a single speech or interview without just constantly freezing up, right? Because mentally, cognitively, he was not there anymore. Right? But his base never called him out. They never abandoned him. They had his full back the entire time. I didn't see any Democrat podcasters getting on YouTube and calling him out 24/7 like they're doing to Trump right now. I constantly see these videos popping up left and right, calling him out, especially Nick Fuentes and, I think it was the other guy, Owen Schroyer. I mean, people really support him and still like the guy, turning on him and saying, hey, what are you doing? Stop doing this. But I did not see that. I don't see that on the left. They have their backs, win, lose, or draw. They don't abandon them. I mean, that would be more likened to a cult, in my opinion. It's like, okay, now your guy is, he's not the same dude. At what point are you going to admit this? What we can all see it. Can you guys admit this? But with Trump, a lot of people are upset. Like, he got on Laura Ingraham. Even Laura Ingraham, he did an interview with her. I was very surprised. She called him out. He was like, no, we can't let these universities fail. She's like, why not? Why? I mean, I was like, wow, okay. Even she's calling him out. She's like, why do we need to have these people? Why do you need to do this? She was calling him out. And people are feeling like they're being gaslit because of things like that, the economy. He's saying the economy is good. Obviously, grocery prices, a lot of things are still high. Prices of eggs have come down. Gas prices have come down. So you got to give credit where credit's due. Gas prices have come down. Yeah, and I'm in California. They've definitely come down. However, it's still pretty high. Everything else is still pretty high. They could come down more. And I know he's only been in office a year, but there's a lot of people that are waiting for him to do what he promised that he would do. And now we're over a year into his term, and the midterms are coming up next year. There's a possibility Democrats can take back the House, and who knows, maybe even the Senate. He's not going to have the power he does now. It's like, why wouldn't you take advantage of this? I mean, there's a lot of questions lurking around here. Like a month ago or so, when the mayors of these blue states and the governors of these blue states were openly defying ICE, and so many people in the media were like, wow, this governor of this blue state is saying that he's going to defy ICE. Like, some of these guys were like going so far as where the media was literally saying that Trump is now in a position to arrest this guy if he wants to. And I think even Bill O'Reilly and Tim Pool called him out. It was like, dude, they're calling for violence. You can literally have them arrested and set an example. Because the Democrats, if they were in power and he did that, anybody on the right did that, they would go arrest that person. And he didn't do it. So it almost makes you wonder, like, dude, they tried to put you in jail for 270 years. You're very lenient, obviously, right? I mean, it's like, you do understand when you're out of office, out of power, they're going to come right after you. You have to wonder, like, what's going on? What's going on with this guy? And I've always said, like, the difference, like, when it comes to Republicans and Democrats, I'm in the middle. I always have to say, I'm an independent. I don't vote either way because I know, like, you get the same person regardless of what party gets voted in. Again, if you vote Democrat, you get this person with open borders. If you vote Republican, you get the same person, same policies, but with less immigration, right? But basically the same stuff. He's really ruining his legacy at this point. Let's put it that way. Like, Trump had a good thing going. I think he started off really hot when he started his second term here. Some things just started to veer off the tracks. I believe it started with the Epstein stuff because he promised to release the Epstein files when he was running for office. And I really think he shouldn't have made such a big deal out of that if he wasn't planning on doing it, or maybe he was planning on doing it and then he realized the gravity of it later. I don't suspect he would be part of that, because if he was, the previous administration would have, like, released those files in a second just to destroy him. They were looking for any reason to destroy him. But that turned off a lot of his base. And then obviously all the other things, like the wars, like now there's like new wars that he never started in his first term. That's happening, and just the gaslighting with the economy, saying everything's fine. And a lot of people don't feel that way, but that's what the previous administration did, right? They were telling you that, no, you got more money in your bank account than ever, mister. And it's like, no, I don't. Not with $7 gas and $15 eggs, mofo. That's the gaslighting. But yeah, MAGA is fractured right now, and people are pissed, and they're turning on him. And, it's hurting his legacy. And at some point, I hope he turns the tide, because it's almost feeling like, a Paul Crewe situation. You guys ever watch The Longest Yard? Both of the movies, 1974 with Burt Reynolds, and then the remake with Adam Sandler. It's basically the same premise. Paul Crewe tried to throw the game because he was getting a deal, right? He was getting a deal from the warden, and he was going to throw the football game, right? And he started, like, throwing the ball to the other team and this and that, and he was shaving points. Yeah, at some point, I just hope he wakes up and he starts focusing on what's going on in our country, because we got a lot of problems here, starts focusing on America first, because that's what people are clamoring for right now, and I've said it before, like, I don't think these type of candidates have much runway left. And I didn't think Trump was one of them. He's kind of becoming one of them. But these candidates where they can just, make all these promises during the campaign and then turn their backs on you once they get elected, right? I think that's coming to an end just because of the rise of all this truthism and people on these podcasts and people on social media and YouTube and whatnot, basically gaining a voice through grassroots. People are gravitating towards truth. They just want truth. They don't want to be like, falsely lied to, like you're going to do this once you get in office. And once you get in office, it's like you get amnesia. Like, oh, did you forget that you said that you were going to do all this stuff and now you're not doing it? Yeah, the point I was making about being an independent is watching both sides, both the Democrats and the Republicans. One thing I notice is the Democrats have balls. Like, they will literally take action. Even if there's little evidence to take action on, they will just somehow find a way to expand it so they can take action, right? Like, they literally not only try to put Trump in jail for 270 years, they arrested his lawyers, I believe. They raided his home in Mar-a-Lago. I mean, they would like just completely full on, like no holds barred, tried to get this guy, right? They don't talk about taking action. They just take action. Whereas the Republicans talk about taking action, make all sorts of threats, never take action. They don't do anything, right? They just sit back and let it happen. So that's kind of interesting because Trump has had, basically the House, the Senate, he has the full power to do a lot of things, make a lot of changes. And he holds back a whole lot. And it's like, okay, now you only got less than a year left in, before the midterms. What are you doing? And that's the biggest frustration I see with people in MAGA, especially the ones that are turning on him. It's like, they don't feel like he's done enough. They feel like it's just the same old Republican, like GOP, that talks a big game and just never does anything, And I give it to the Democrats. They do take action. Like, they don't even say they're going to go do something. They just go do it. Like, they didn't announce, hey, we're going to go raid Trump's Mar-a-Lago mansion. They just showed up there in the morning. It was all over the news. They announced like, oh, we're investigating Trump for real estate fraud. They went right after him, right? Just like that, boom. But Trump, like Bill O'Reilly was like just a few weeks ago or last month about the ICE, like these governors, these blue state governors making threats against ICE. Bill O'Reilly was like, Trump is in full position to have them arrested. Why isn't he doing it? It's like they would throw you in jail in a heartbeat, dude. Why aren't you doing anything? It's that frustration, right, with the Republican base, like the Republican voters, I should say. They are frustrated because they're like, all talk, no action. Even when you see like all these like Fox News and stuff, which is just controlled opposition, all of these very clickbaity titles, they're just make me laugh at this point when they're like, oh, Republican senator goes scorched earth on Democrat. It's like, okay, yeah, keep up with the, like clickbaity titles, but they don't do anything. Nothing ever gets done. It's the same old, and that's why MAGA's split right now. I mean, almost every video is talking about Israel. It's like, you hear the word, about the country of Israel more than you hear about like America, right? And he's supposed to be the president of the United States, not of Israel. So just makes you question things, right? But again, I'm in the middle. This is why I'm like, it's the same boss either way. What's that saying go? New boss, same as the old. Anyway, let me know your thoughts about MAGA being split. If you were a part of MAGA, if you lost friends because of MAGA, if you supported Trump, and it caused some discomfort in your life. You wore the Make America Great Again hat and everything, and now you feel like the guy doesn't have your back. Yeah, and in particular, like the whole January 6th thing, I know a lot of podcasters were saying that he should have pardoned them from the get-go, and that he could have. The one thing that really kind of rubbed me the wrong way was the Charlie Kirk thing, because Charlie Kirk went to bat for him. I mean, he lost his life, going out there. I mean, Charlie Kirk basically helped him win the election. He ran a lot of the grassroots campaigns for Trump, especially these college campuses and turning the youth vote for him, and it really was a big reason why he won the election. And when Charlie was shot, I just feel like he was quickly forgotten, man. I'm like, if that was my friend, I would be like, man, I'm coming after all of you, right? I mean, that's just basic loyalty. And I don't know, maybe he shows it in a different way. I don't want to judge. But I mean, it just felt like that was just swept under the rug. And it's like, okay, Charlie's gone. Let's keep moving along. It's like, wait a minute, dude. He helped you get in the office, I just, yeah. Anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts on this. I mean, if you're a part of MAGA or if you're not part of MAGA, if you don't like Trump, whatever, or if you just think we just need somebody who cares about us in office, who actually do the will of the people and not just promise these things on the campaign trail, but actually follow through with them. Because I think everybody's frustrated now on both sides. And I think that we just need to get somebody in there who listens to the will of the people, man. Stop catering to all these other countries and lobbyists and donors, and just, how about listen to the American people? Like what they always promise, but then they don't. They get in there and then they have to do their donors' biddings because they got money and all this stuff. And, that's just nature of politics, I guess. But anyway, drop your comments below. Let me know where you stand on this, how you feel about it. If you're going to stick with Trump, you're going to keep supporting him, let me know. If you're turning your back on him, let me know. If you don't support him all, let me know. And as always, Matt Cross from AlphaMaleSecrets signing out. Don't forget to smash the like button, smash the subscribe button on your way out. And if you're feeling extra generous, please feel free to jump into my premium AlphaMaleSecrets program. Right now, it's only $1 for the entire first month of premium AlphaMaleSecrets coaching lessons from me, where I'm going to teach you how to level up, become the highest value version of yourself, how to become icy and non-reactive like we always talk about here on my channel. Very easy to say, very hard to do, but I teach you the shortcuts, how to get there, and how to become non-reactive and gain control over yourself and your emotional state. And again, become the highest value version of yourself. So all you need to do is click the link below in my description box. It will take you over to my website where you can get signed up right now. Just takes 2 seconds. So do that now. And I'll see you in my next coaching video. I'm out.